Hello. So I got laid off. And the first thing I did after the initial shock of it all was open up my laptop and start talking to AI. Not because I had a plan, because I needed to talk out loud and I needed something to think with. This is that story. Welcome to the Deanda Factor. I'm Deanda, as you know, and today we're going somewhere real. I've been wanting to tell this story properly for a while now. The layoff, the grief, the pivot, the rebuild, and the role that AI tools played in all of it. So here's what happened. The call came. I'd been in CRM and brand marketing for over 13 plus years. Um, I had the title, the experience, the receipts. And then one conversation, and all the things that are going on in the world, all those things kind of played a part. And it was over. This disorientation, it's real. You lose your schedule, you lose your routine, sometimes your sense of worth, actually, all at once. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I had called this in a way. Let me explain. So, as you know, I'd been traveling for about 5.5 months. And I kept saying, I don't want to do it like this next time. I don't want to do it like this next time, meaning throughout my travel in those 5.5 months, I was working, a 9 to 5 East Coast hours in 5 different countries, I think it was. And it was exhausting. And it was mentally unbalanced, if I'm honest. And one of those reasons is I was living my best life. And what was going on in the States was conflicting with that best life, I have to say. So I kept saying, and I was saying it out loud, I don't want to do it like this next time. I don't want to do it like this next time. And I had started taking steps in the direction of not doing it like that, not having, not being beholden to an employer. I didn't have a plan of how that was going to take place. I was drafting a plan, I guess, or thinking through a plan, if you will. But as the saying goes, God is in the details, and the universe had other plans, and or had a plan that I hadn't thought about, is the best way to say that. So, yeah, that's what happened in short. Um, I want what I want to do is normalize the grief first, before we get into like the strategy of using AI to drift into the chapter that I think I'm really supposed to be in, and I'm enjoying it. But losing a job, even when you weren't, really head over heels with, you were a bit, ambivalent about, it's still a loss. And it's something that I want to say, give yourself time to feel it, give yourself time to accept it, and don't rush into what's next mode, before you've processed what just happened or what just ended. give yourself, time to really feel and um, give yourself grace to accept it, and that could be a month, that could be a week for some people, that can be a whole year for some people, particularly for those who have not experienced a loss like that. We're closing down your department, your whole department, and all your colleagues, your desk mates, all of them are gone too. So, which is a whole nother, kind of aspect of the process or the grieving process, because your day to day is no longer what you had been living. So, give yourself grace on that, and um, give yourself, the time and permission, if you will, to um, to get through this, to get through it. So about 2 weeks in, for me, that's how it was. I started using AI tools. Um, to help me kind of think through some things. And I call it thinking out loud, but not really talking out loud yet. And I mean, really thinking, really like they used to say in school, putting my, thinking cap on. Not just, polishing up my resume, which, is something that I, looked at and, tweaked and, changed around, a million and one times, I have to say. I was using Claude to process what I actually wanted in my next chapter. I was using ChatGPT um, to brainstorm business ideas based on my skill set. I was using Notion's AI to organize what I felt in the chaos of it all in my head, which I know it sounds like a lot, and it really was a lot. Um, it was I don't know. It was therapeutic. It was therapeutic. So um, let me kind of get into the nitty gritty of what each one of those that I just named tools, how they helped. So first, Claude AI was my thinking partner. I literally said, here is my background. Here are my skills. Here is what I don't want anymore. Help me see what I'm not seeing. And it did. It helped me, kind of hash out some things that I think was right there in front of me, but I needed some clarity. I needed some weeds pulled. It helped me to articulate what I had been so fuzzy about for a long time now, for years actually. Um, and it helped bring a little bit of clarity, and move out some of the cobwebs, if you will. ChatGPT um, helped me with the tactical side, resume rewrites, letter angles, particularly, in the digital space, consulting, freelance contracting positions. How do I, position myself for those, which is more or less what I was going for, or what I had come up with through the questions and prompts that I used in Claude. I would give it my actual experience and say, how do I translate this for a consulting audience? The output was pretty raw, but it gave me something to work with. It gave me something to, fully kind of pull back from the mechanical or AI-ness of it all and bring the humanness and me into it. And it was really helpful. I have to say, I was kind of floored by how useful and helpful it was. Moving on to Notions AI, which helped me to build the architecture of my new chapter. I created a life redesign project. Seriously, I did that. I mean, I'm a Virgo, so of course that was like fun for me. A project I managed my own rebuild, basically. I project managed it from top to bottom with goals. It included goals, timelines, experiments, and I flushed out, what would be my wins. And that structured helped me from spiraling, really. And I want to say 9 months later, here's what I built. It was more or less a culmination of um, diesel marketing, and active consulting practice in CRM and brand marketing, this YouTube channel, a freelance presence on Upwork, and more clarity about what I wanted. This also included voiceover work, and expanding my knowledge of AI so that I can bring that to you. And like I said, it was just more clarity than I had ever thought I wanted and certainly needed. The layoff didn't break me. It really didn't. What it did was push me towards what I'd been, I think, kind of in hold mode of, and it made me think more broadly about my future and what I needed and what I want. So it was it was good times. It really was, and I had a lot. I made it feel and be a lot of fun, and not looking at it as an attack or as something bad. Layoff doesn't have to be that way. And I also want to state that I continued therapy and practicing mindfulness with my mindfulness group every 2 weeks. All of these things, put together, they really are tools. They really are. Okay, so if you're in, it's all right now. Here's what I want you to know. 1, give yourself 30 days before you panic. Apply. You know what I'm talking about. Those of you who are laid off, you just like jump right in and start applying. Give yourself some space. Give yourself time to breathe. You feel like you need to jump right in because that's the way our society is structured. But nobody's going to come in and help you but you, right? So give yourself time for that grace that I talked about at the top of this video. Number 2, use AI to think, not just to produce. Okay. So, find those moments, develop those prompts, because it really is, about the prompt is everything. And number 3, the layoff is a redirect, not a rejection. And I need you to understand that it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It is about the structure of the company or the agency. If you're in government, or were in government, it's not about you. It's not about you. So don't make it about you. Don't make it about you. Number 4, your skills don't disappear because the job did. I'm going to say that again. Just because the job disappeared does not mean that your skills disappeared. In fact, you're probably even better than you were the first day of that job because of the things that you've learned and skills that you've gained. So, girl, go out, do it. Do it. And I encourage you to just practice thinking with AI and see how that will unfold. Find the right prompts and really dive into what the tools can and will help you through in your day to day. All right. So now let's get into the Sweet Spot Sparkle Challenge for this week. If you've been laid off or are navigating a transition, because you don't, this information is not just for someone who's been laid off. If you're transitioning or pivoting in your career, starting a new business, you do need to take some time to think through some things logically and without judgment. What the challenge is, I want you to write one thing you know about yourself that no layoff can take away. Just one thing. Put it in the comments. I'll respond to every single one. I really will. And your challenge layoff is, it's the next chapter. It's the next chapter. It's the reset. That's what it is. All right. The chapter I didn't plan for turned out to be the most important one. I hope this gave you something useful today. I hope that that you found something in this particular video that resonates with you. Just one thing. And if you did, please subscribe, share it with someone who needs it, and stay grateful, stay grounded, and stay in your sweet spot. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.